stuff like that because they get so warm.
Hey, Patrick, are you in the office in Greenville?
No, I am not. I'm actually at my home.
Lisa might be going there to
Okay.
Lisa Forcino. I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. Just for everyone's knowledge, we have not been in that office since October.
Oh, okay. All right.
The
Uh,
Indian Valley Recreation and Parks District, they now rent that space, and yeah, we released that several months ago. Lida is on her way,
okay, let
just
me try
FYI.
Lisa. I think she was going that way.
But Lida will be on her way here momentarily, and I know that Dax he let me know that he was not going to be able to make it today. So we'll just give it a another minute or two because so Lida again is coming, and then we'll see about Kaylee as well. Kaylee Bentz.
Excuse me. Hmm. Hmm.
Okay, that's great. Well, we definitely have enough at least for a quorum, and I'll just do a quick roll call. Matt Fogarty. Yep, yep, gotcha. Marcia Roby,
Here.
Greg Walsh,
I'm here.
Shelby Leon.
Here.
Thank you. Danny Steyer,
Yeah. Here.
Kaylee Bentz. Gotcha. Okay. And with that, may I have a motion for approval of today's agenda, please?
Also move, Shelby.
Thank you, Shelby.
I'll
And a
second.
thank you, Danny Steyer. Got it. And all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, none. Thank you. And also for today's meeting is the approval of the February 2nd, 2026 meeting minutes. May I have a motion to approve those?
Marcia, I so move.
Marcia Roby, thank you. And a second,
I'll second it.
Greg Walsh. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Looks like we just lost Kaylee. Any opposed? None. Okay. 2, 4, 5. Okay. None opposed. Okay. I think Kaylee will be logging back in here in a second, but while we're waiting, um, we have, is there any public input for today's meeting? I know we have Clint, and I know you'll be briefing underneath the Innovation Hub. Miss Anita Adcock, welcome. Was there any input from that you'd like to share with us?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, great.
Great
Thank you for
weather, the
joining us.
snow is melting, and it feels like spring.
That's right. That's right. All right, great. We've got Kaylee back on. Super. All right. We'll go right into today's treasurer's report from Danny.
Yeah. So
I have that we have an interest of $1,846 for February that came in. It brings our total inflow of $3,172,899 was their income. Total grants approved to date, with the latest one being to the Friends of Plumas County Animals, was $2,010,848. We don't have any additional expenditures. So the current book balance for the DFC is $895,874.82. However, as we know, that last time we did approve $513,644 to the PRS for the Plumas rebuild. And we also approved $71,377 to the PRS for the Plumas Housing Council. But we did get 300,000 back from the Rancheria loan that we had set aside. So we got that back into our pot. So our total commitments at this point are $889,641. So that actually leaves us currently to date was $306,079.87 of funds that are available. And the grant requests we have today far exceed that. Other thing too is we'll have to check with North Valley Community Fund. There was some talk that they might split the funds that we provided for the PRS build for Plumas. That $71,377, we had a possibility of them splitting that with us. So there could be another $35,688 that would come back in, which would bring our available funds to $341,768. So that's where we're at there. So, without knowing what coming back from North Valley, it just said $306,000 we have currently available.
Actually, Danny, I can speak to that. We did share that grant with you all. So,
okay.
Yes, and I sorry if I didn't communicate that, but when that grant agreement went out, that grant was split 50-50 between the two organizations. So,
great.
And I think I just saw the signed grant agreement come across my DocuSign literally like 10 minutes ago. So,
Yeah, and Kim, I think you did tell me that, and Danny, my fault for not passing that along. I think 2 weeks ago, Kim, we discussed that right after you all had met. So thank you for that.
Yeah, no harm, no foul. It's keeping everything above board, and we know what's going on. So that's good. I'm glad to hear that we have that extra funds there to work with. Or additional funds. We don't have extra funds, additional funds to work with.
Yeah, nothing's extra.
Correct.
So that puts us right. So ballpark figure is roughly $340,000.
Yeah, $341.78. Yeah,
$341.78.
3768. 37768. Yeah, that's what my total is.
Okay.
All right. That's
Great.
it.
Well, thank you, Danny. Appreciate that. Matt Fogarty, you had your hand raised.
Yeah. So there was the budget for Patrick's wages and expenses and all that. And before, Patrick was thinking about finishing in August, but here we are in March. And I know that there may have been some money left. Is that budget all going to be spent, or is we're going to have to pay a little bit more for that because we're now in March, or how's that tracking?
So that budget for the Dixie Fire Coordinator budget is down to about $25,000.
Okay.
So if I'm wrapped up here like within the month. Oh, go ahead, Kim.
I was gonna say, yeah, it's 20,000. I showed today's report $20,895 as.
There you go.
Yeah.
So then anything that's left there will go back into the Dixie Fire Fund. So that would be an additional $20,000 or so.
And is that the plan, Patrick, for you to finish in like a month or so?
It's however, I guess I've been sort of taking my cues with how this goes with being able to wrap up this at least grant funding. And if it was, before we knew that we were getting the Rancheria money back, so that was going to be available immediately to then grant out. I was going to, kind of mark time a little bit and then figure out what you all wanted to do here in March and April until we knew more about the Rancheria. But now that we do know, we got that $300,000 back and added into what we already had. Plus, if there's anything else that could be padded with money moved back over from the coordinator fund based off of these grants here and anything else in the future, that money would essentially be gone. And the last couple of things I'm doing with Plymouth County is talking about their preparation for um, grant applications on behalf of like Greenville rebuild stuff, like public spaces and the park area.
How about we assume that we took 10 grand from that admin budget? So that would be 350 all in. That would leave 10 grand left for ongoing projects and stuff. Would that be enough?
I don't know off the top of my head.
And my recommendation at this stage is to maybe just, because once Patrick is gone, the communication and someone advocating on behalf of your community and somebody trying to work with the county and get these projects through, and just like the work with Greenville Rancheria, and just the time I know that is spent, just, kind of communicating, even projects that are coming in. It's probably going to become a lot more difficult for you. So I think at this stage, rather than trying to look at saying, oh, let's move this money from here to there, we just know how quickly time, all of a sudden it's March, and next thing we know, it could still be June, and we still could have, and it depends how strongly this group feels about, they want this money out the door now, and done, or do they want to find the most impactful projects that support your community with, coming back around after the fire. So, I don't know, I just recommend kind of thinking that through.
Okay, then maybe we'll just leave the 20K in the admin budget for today. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And then just more to follow as things shake out over the next month. Okay, so first up, we have the Indian Valley Innovation Hub. Clint Cobley will be presenting. There's three different grants here. One was the Indian Valley Job Creation Grant Program, one is the e-commerce grant, and one is the Move-In grant as well. So all three of this might be the second or third iteration where you've heard at least the general concepts around these grants. Some of the details have changed. Before we really get started, though, Clint, can you elaborate to the team here with regard to the Attorney General, the State Attorney General's filings that the Innovation Hub has just submitted, and kind of what that means for you?
Yes, I believe, and that's what my records show, and I'm not exactly sure. I sent in my application to the Attorney General on November 14th of last year, and I sent both Kim and Logan a copy of my what I printed out. And I think I read somewhere that it could take up to 3 months, and so I haven't been really pushing. Well, in talking with Kim and Logan, they both said it shouldn't take this long. So Logan gave me a little bit more direction, and he checked again this morning, and we're not registered. So I reapplied again. I sent in all of our organizational papers, from the get-go. I included our, beginning, contribution that we started with, the date of that, bank statements, all the other things, our nonprofit status with the IRS, with the state of California, down the line, and sent in my $50 payment. And so that was priority mailed today. And I apologize. I kept waiting for this, and I tried to call once before, and I'm not the best at navigating, and I I was kind of like shut out of trying to get hold of them. I'm embarrassed to say. So I kind of leaned on Logan to help me, and he checked again this morning, and we were not registered. So, but I have proof that I have everything in there, and I have all the other information, whether it's the SAM number, which makes you eligible for federal grants, if it's the EIN, the fictitious business name, the award letter from the IRS for the EIN, the award letter from the IRS for the 501(c)(3) status, and then the award letter from the California Secretary of State for the California nonprofit public benefit status, and my, current status, which is active, and then other little certifications. So I'm sorry to say that, you know, I didn't get this done before, but and I sent, Patrick, I sent you and also to Kim and to Logan all of our organizational papers, and we have a lot of them, including our nonprofit bylaws, and, that I didn't mention. We have about 10 or 11 different certifications, that we have gone through since we started. So it's not like we weren't trying to be a
Yeah.
registered. I
No,
just, it's,
yeah. Oh, good, Clint. And I that's yeah, I don't think anybody like usually, and this has happened probably half a dozen times with different groups that we've worked with. And that's so just for the benefit of the broader audience, Logan that we're referring to is the operations manager at North Valley Community Foundation, who's very adept at kind of navigating with all the different groups and charity funds that North Valley works with. That's one of Logan's roles is to kind of verify uh, the standing with the state in the variety of places that Clint just mentioned. So that's one of these things with regard to the nonprofit world, not only in the country but in the state of California. It's a little bit of a minefield with what the expectations are. And it's very easy to get kind of tripped up on a couple of things. But what that means in the short term is that we will need to wait until we get all that paperwork is officially like in the hands of the state of California before anything could be granted to the Indian Valley Innovation Hub. So that
totally
just
understand. It's totally
bottom
acceptable.
line, yeah, bottom line up front is just that requirement that needs to happen if money is going to be granted.
Yeah.
And then Clint, for you, been Bill Hubbard, the general counsel at North Valley, took a look at a couple of the grants, has some questions and also maybe some refinements for you. And I think he's going to go direct with you on those, just to be able to
Great.
kind of streamline things a little bit and also just elaborate on a couple of details to make sure it's on the up and up. Or if it's in the case of it not being specifically not that it's not on the up and up, but not consistent with how grants can go to businesses, that those the proper procedures are in place there
Yeah.
with regard to the grant.
No problem.
So we're going to keep working on that and kind of iterating until this gets a little bit cleaner, so that it has a better chance of happening. But that being said, since we will kind of have to mark time a little bit in order to get these grant requests heard and processed, I think over the next few minutes, if you want to sort of just give a brief summary
Yes.
of the change brief by exception. So I think people are generally understand what the scope of each one is, but if you want to go through and talk about the changes where you've updated certain things since maybe the last time they heard this, which was I think in October, November timeframe.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you, Patrick. Thank you, everybody. Good to see you all again. As Patrick mentioned, I do have 3 grant applications. All 3 are based on return on investment, especially the online store. The move in is not only return on investment, but it's recruitment. And then the Indian Valley Job Creation Grant is not only return on investment and recruitment for maybe new businesses, it's also what I feel is economic survival in some of these tough times. So I'll start with the online store real quickly. Over the years, innovation staff have helped numerous businesses in Indian Valley starting and expanding their businesses, which is our mission. We've helped with logos, websites, writing business plans, getting SAM numbers, EINs, bank loans, unsecured loans, state grants, fictitious business names, general liability insurance, business checking accounts, and more. I personally have helped 13 Indian Valley businesses get the 2021 Dixie Fire for-profit economic development grant for a total of $260,808, with another 40,000 coming because I have two more clients that are due to be accepted, I think, either today or tomorrow. And real quickly, I think I mentioned this that in our store, um, last year, we sold just under $68,000 worth of merchandise from Plumas County product makers. And of that, the 17 Indian Valley product makers earned just under 28,000. And I feel they're just getting started. So I feel in many ways we've helped them fly. And I think with a online store, we can help them soar because we feel that our sales will bump up at least 20% each year for the next couple of years. So that's kind of my spiel. I think you all know about it. I think last time I may have applied for half of it, and I was going to apply to Indian North Valley Community Foundation. Patrick said just put down the 10-8, and then maybe you would discuss it from there. So that's that. Do you want me to go to another one, or do you want to talk about this first? How do you want to handle that, Patrick?
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. We'll kind of take it as it comes. So with regard to the e-commerce grant, any thoughts from the team on that? Any additional questions or considerations? Danny, I think you had some questions via email.
Yeah, I was just going to say thanks for Clint for addressing the questions I sent out via email. My one comment was so that you had said the average was going to be 20% for consignment. It actually is well below that because when you're taking into account that the Indian Valley, some of the people are only paying 15%, so it's going to be below that. So it's as an engineer, I look at numbers, and as a
Well,
treasurer, I look at numbers. So I just want to point that out. It's going to be below the figure that you're looking at.
yeah. Truthfully, Danny, we first started charging any product makers in July 1st of last year, and only the non-burn scar, and we charged them 20% plus a 3% credit card fees. We just started charging Indian Valley product makers this last month on February 1st, 15% plus the 3% credit card fees. And we also do have some volunteers that work in the store that, because they volunteer, we don't charge them a consignment fee. So I was just taking an average in my head of what our, average consignment fee was because it's hard to just get it right down to the tenth of
Well,
a percent.
understood. I was just
No
saying,
problem.
realistic. The
Yeah.
engineer in me and the treasurer in me wants to say, it's going to be below that. But yeah, that's all. But you do document how it's changed and everything else, which is great. And take into account the burn scar people and the invalid people
Yeah.
working, and they're getting an offset. So
Yeah, we gave them
thanks.
14 months of no consignment fee, and 15% is at least half of what most people charge. The going consignment fees is usually 30 to 40%.
Clint, on that, I think the last time this situation was brought up was tapping into existing e-commerce platforms, right? Things that already exist that are already out there, like essentially like using Etsy or something like it to shepherd your hub store online, as opposed to creating something and then back again to like having to direct people to get there. That's another part of the lift. Is people have to know to even go to your online store or how it's featured on the website. Have you all thought about that again?
Well, yes, we have. And one of the reasons why we came up with the idea of the online store is that we get so many people that come in that lived in Plumas County at one time and they buy souvenirs and they live anywhere from 100 to 300 or 500 miles from here. And they always ask us like, well, gosh, if you had your store online, I could buy more stuff in the future for my kids, my friends, about Plumas County, and we thought, wow, that would just help sales. So, as far as yeah, I think there's some lesser expensive platforms, but we have 85 product makers right now, and more knocking on the door. So, we've got to give everybody a page, of like who they are, where they are, contact information, what do they produce, a little story behind it, pictures of it, costs, and things like this here. So, by the time we get around to it, we'll have almost 100 product makers. So it's going to be a lot of labor to get that up in full swing.
Okay, thank you. All right. If there are no additional questions or comments on this one, Clint, did you want to move on and discuss the move-in grant potentially?
Sure. You bet.
Yeah.
And again, this really talks about, return on investment. And I'm really strong on that as well as recruitment because I know you're all talking about some of your last money. So folks, it's got to count, and, we all want a return on the investment. So where I'm coming from on this is that of all the challenges we face in Plumas County, depopulation has been our biggest threat. With depopulation, we lose everything, jobs, businesses, schools, hospitals, and the quality of life. And for me, our choices are either sit on our hands and watch the population go away, or we try to recruit like a lot of other, I won't say a lot, but other anchor institutions do all the time. PDH, for example, Seneca Hospital, Sierra Pacific Industries, they all offer recruitment because it's not enough of a talent pool within Plumas County to attract some of the people they want. For example, Sierra Pacific Industries, they need a master mechanic, a fabricator, and a lead supervisor. When they can find those three people, they're going to pull the trigger, and then they're going to start a night shift, their third shift, which means they're going to hire anywhere from 25 to 40 more people. That's going to have a huge economic impact on the town of Quincy, and I also think it's going to have an impact on Greenville because a lot of SBI employees have lived in Greenville before. So between our incentive, their incentive, it's going to have a big return on the investment. And if you talk to Darren Beatty from PDH, if you talk to Sean McKenzie of Seneca, if you talk to SBI, they're going to tell you that, recruitment and incentive works. It works for them, and we know that it works around the country for rural communities. So, uh, is it going to replace all the people we're losing? No. But I think if we can recruit key people, if we can recruit families, which might put kids in our schools and have a return on investment, if we can recruit businesses here that might employ people or start businesses, that will have a big return on investment. Anybody coming here is going to pay sales tax, and if they buy or build a house, it's going to be property tax. And the money they earn is going to be spent within the community. And in rural communities, I think Matt's probably mentioned this before, money goes around 6 to 8 times before it leaves the community. So it really has a big return on the investment. And sadly, I think we're in a position where we have to go out and start recruiting because we have a workforce challenge, we have a depopulation challenge, and we really have to go after it. So for me, to one big piece of this puzzle is our move in, and that's, recruitment through incentives and marketing. And our move in program does both. It not only attracts people, but it also, because we're going to have a national framework and we're going to do social media around the country. It's also going to showcase what Plumas County is all about. So it's kind of a twofer. So we're pretty confident, and we gave Sierra Pacific Industries the website this morning. They really, really liked it. They wish me well today in securing more funding for it. They're going to have their corporate take a look at it, and if they approve it, we'll have it ready to show people, by sometime next week. So we're confident that this will work. So confident that if you commit to the request I made, we'd be willing to have you set aside half of it and let us prove ourselves with the first half. So I think that's, you know, um, an offer that's good for everybody. It holds us accountable. And like I said, it'll have a return on investment and it'll help us recruit people to Indian Valley.
Okay. Team, any thoughts, questions, comments? Yes, Greg.
Um, okay, so this is what the third iteration of this that we've heard, Clint?
Yes. Oh, and I'm sorry, Greg, because Patrick asked me to talk about changes, and I think the very first time we asked for 35,000. Then I think the second time it was 300,000, and now we put down 300,000, and we were thinking of half from the DFC and half from the North Valley Community Foundation. So, Greg, I apologize that I didn't clarify that because Patrick
I,
wanted me to
I,
mention that, and I forgot that.
I, for the move-in relocation, I thought you went with 60,000.
Yes. Oh,
Okay.
okay. I'm sorry, Greg. Were you talking about move in or for the job creation?
I'm talking right now, I'm talking about the move-in.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Yeah. I
Isn't that what
Yeah,
we were talking about?
yes. I'm the one
Right.
that confused Greg. I'm sorry. Yeah, I think the first time maybe we asked for 30,000 and now it's 60,000. And again, we thought maybe half from the DFC, half from North Valley Community Foundation, but I put it out there that we
Oh,
wanted 60,000.
and so, and what I was looking at is like Danny asked some questions, and it looks like you want 75 grand for basically somebody running the web for a year, making a website, and administrative cost, right? Roughly
Um,
75.
yes. No, it's less than that. It's 5,000 for the site, and it's going to be 1,500 to 2,500 a month for advertising nationally. And then we
Oh,
have
I sort of segued maybe. So this is on the relocation, the move-in, right? What I'm
yes,
talking about. Okay, not the e-commerce.
Yeah,
correct.
I think Clint, in your budget, you have total IT work equals $75,000.
Right, for the
Um,
relocation.
and then you have digital relocation campaign, sixty-two
Yeah.
thousand five hundred
And
dollars
that was
Okay.
basically advertising for 2 years. It's not so much to set it up or admin fees. It's just that we're going to have a national framework. We're going to have social media across the country, and it's going to cost us, 1,500 to 2,000 plus a month to advertise.
Okay. And my issue with it was before you can't guarantee that it'll help Indian Valley. It's gonna be Plumas County wide.
Well, I know, but I talked to Samantha, and she's made the same arrangement, with SPI because we're giving them a landing page, and we're going to advertise specifically, for the money they gave us for SPI. Now we're going to do the same for Indian Valley. It's just that we can't guarantee that if we advertise that people will accept it and come to Indian
Right.
Valley. We're not going to advertise and say, come and move to Portola. We want them to come to Indian Valley, but we are going to advertise specifically with this money to come to Indian Valley. It's just that we can't guarantee that they will, in fact, come whether we offer the incentive or not.
So, and the
Yeah,
rest
I
of the
think that's
county,
important.
yeah, I think it really is. I mean, and the rest of the county Southern Pacific gave you 20 grand,
20 grand, SBI, yes.
and like it looked like you've raised a total of what county wide and everything about 26 is all.
26 so far, and we've approached Seneca, Plumas District Hospital, and I'm trying to think. We have one other one. We've approached them and we made our presentations. We've made several presentations. Just like this is my third time here, we've had to go through several times
Right.
with a lot of the anchor
And
institutions.
that's kind of my point is that like I've heard this, I don't know when the first one was, but in terms of everybody contributing and all these presentations and stuff like that, other than you've raised $26,000 and one employer has contributed, one anchor employer has
Correct.
contributed. And what this has been going on for like 9 months? When did we start with this?
We approached SBI last year. We started talking to them in September. We made our pitch in November and or late November, early December, and they gave us the money just before Christmas of 2025.
Okay.
And then we waited until after the holidays to go back to PDH, back to Seneca Hospital.
Yeah, I'm just
And I'm sorry, we also approached Collins Pines, and I feel very, very good about that also. But I just made their pitch Tomorrow would be 10 days or about a week or 10 days. So
Okay, yeah, I'm in the same place that I was. I want to see
yeah.
other results besides.
And the thing I wanted to say is all of them, PDH, Seneca, Collins Pines, they all offer recruitment incentives. There's just not enough talent within Plumas County to fill some key positions, so uh, it's what a lot of rural communities are doing just to survive. Everybody wants people to move to their community because we're all facing the same shrinkage problem. So we're all kind of vying for each other. But those are the three that we've approached, and I feel that we're going to get at least one, if not two, out of the three. In fact, PDH has already asked us that, um, along with the move in, could we help them in our advertising when they see our framework for how we're going to approach this? We're meeting with them, I think tomorrow or Wednesday. They're meeting with Samantha from Bliss Branding, to talk about how we can help them with their marketing and then link to move in.
Um, yeah, okay. That just sounds like mostly it would sound like it's going to benefit Quincy, but um,
No, this is like for Indian Valley. If you commit to $60,000, we're going to advertise a segment of this just for Indian Valley. And we won't give the money out for places outside Indian Valley. If we can't get people, like I said, if we spend the first half and we can't get people to move to Indian Valley, then you can keep the other half. We just think we can get people to come to Indian Valley and with the first half. And if we can prove that ourselves, then we're going to ask you for the second half. And not to move to Portola. I know what you're saying, Greg.
yeah.
So,
We've all
Or
spent too much
Gray
time in
Eagle.
Greenville to give it to someone else.
so I think what we can do is continue to just kind of monitor how the fundraising goes for this, and Greg, kind of to your point, kind of see what other organizations or businesses are investing in this plan,
Right.
and then just see what the feasibility is moving forward.
And we
Uh,
do have our framework is done, and we presented it to SBI this morning. And the only reason I can't show you yet what it would look like for Indian Valley is that they're really excited, but they have to send it to their corporate office for approval before we can, show anybody else because their name's splattered all over. But
sure.
that's for them. So by next week,
What we'll
Greg,
do.
I'll be able to show you something.
Okay.
What we'll do is, Kim, I see you have your hand, and then we'll go, we'll hit, the job creation grant one more time, Clint, with regard to any changes or updates you'd like to share there. Go ahead, Kim.
Go, I'm a little confused by the budget. So you have in here that the total amount required for this project is 125,000. You're requesting 60,000. So the $125,000 budget, is that 75,000 for paying the consultant and the ads and all of that? And then is the other 50,000 giving 5,000 to each family that moves in?
Yeah, the original was 125,000, and that was going to bring 10 families at 5,000 each for 50,000.
So the other thing that an issue that Bill brought up, and he hasn't really had a chance to, we might have to have kind of maybe a separate meeting with the legal team, because part of our responsibility, right, is to make sure that when we give money to nonprofits, that then nonprofits spend that money the way they legally can from a charitable standpoint. And I don't know if we're allowed to just give away $5,000 to anybody with that's not based on need, or there's a lot of rules behind when we fund for unmet needs.
Yeah,
And
and a lot,
so
and Kim, a lot of,
these will be non-fire affected folks getting $5,000. So I just yeah, I do know we have funded grants to in Paradise, after the campfire to, kind of a move back type of campaign, to let people know we're still here, we're thriving, move back. So I know we've helped fund those campaigns with charitable dollars before. I'm
Yeah.
not sure about the just giving money.
Yeah.
to
And the rules
I
have
think there'd
changed.
have to be a lot more steps, is what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
And Kim, you're well aware that I think some of those rules changed last July. And of course, we would welcome Bill's guidance on that totally.
Mhm.
I mean, the last thing I want to do is do this work for free and get my hiney in trouble.
Yeah. So, okay.
Okay, so just some additional considerations that we'll continue to look into. And then with just a few minutes, Clint, um, elaborate a little bit more on the job creation grant,
Okay.
specifically like the larger change there with regard to uh, existing employees incorporated.
Yeah. Well, as far as the initial changes, Patrick, I think we started out with 35,000, and then I think the second time we asked for 300,000, and we're asking for 300,000 total this time, but 150 from the DFC and excuse me, potentially 150,000 from the North Valley Community Foundation. So that's the biggest change. The other big change is that in addition to providing funds for new hires, we also put in an incentive for for employers to retain or to offset some of the costs for the hires that they've made in the past, just to help, those companies get off the ground. And just to provide the background, I think we all know that how, tough it is economically to get started, much less in a disaster community. The slowest rate of job growth in the country for the second consecutive year is rural California. So it hasn't been easy. We're losing people, businesses, jobs, and things like that. So our county's not doing the best. If we don't pass the sales tax, it runs out of its cash reserves in 2 years. The school district in state receivership said they're going to, eliminate 58 employees, 19 teachers, one principal. That to me means that it's, we could be losing more people, more students in our schools. I know businesses that have closed. I know businesses in Chester, for example, that for the first time in years they shut down for the winter. It just hasn't been easy, So how we spend our remaining money for recovery is critical since it's running out. It has to count. But I think we need to prop up our existing businesses as well as encouraging new businesses to start. Going back to the Indian Valley, the Maiden Plumas County store, we started out in January of last year. I think we had about 10 um, small businesses from Indian Valley when we started, and we had 17. We have 17 now. So we've helped grow businesses, start businesses. A lot of those businesses were hobbyists, and now we've turned them into full-fledged businesses. So, I think it's critical for our recovery to um, support, our working class and, that put jobs out there because without jobs, it's hard for people to relocate or to stay here. So this grant really to me is extremely helpful in the same sense that the Dixie Fire for-profit grant has been extremely helpful. That was 500 and I think 77,000 and $500 that Plumas County gave to for-profit businesses. So far, about 23 have received right under $20,000. There's another two to four that are coming that'll be approved in the next couple of days. But every single one of those businesses, and I helped 13 of them, invested in major things like major capital improvements, equipment, and things like that. It made it so easy because these are businesses that either just started or they've been struggling. They lost a lot of resources in the fire. This is going to help existing businesses and new businesses. So I think it's really, really critical. Without jobs, I think our recovery is going to be even more difficult. And financial incentives. Is why we're doing it. That's why we're doing the Dixie Fire for-profit grant. And I think these same investments are crucial here. For me, this is about return on the investment, keeping our businesses strong, starting more businesses, recruit maybe businesses. And I think, to put it blunt, from the businesses that I deal with, I think it's going to be a large part about our survival.
Okay. Thank you for that, Clint. Matt, you have your hand up?
Yeah, so Anita was on the call earlier on. So Anita was she had to drop off. So Anita runs the
Present toe.
yeah, Crescent Toe. Anyway, she sent me a text and for me to read out. So she said, if you could let them know that a grant to go towards payroll would help tremendously for our small businesses here in the Valley, that would be awesome. It is hard to keep up with payroll in our area where the Dixie Fire took everything. Commerce and recreation is coming back, but very slowly. So that was from Anita.
Okay, great. Yeah, thank you for that. Michaela, you have your hand up.
Yeah, hi. So I just wanted to speak on this one a little bit. If we had a grant program in the area for employees, we could have benefited from that. It would have been something we ourselves would have looked into. Payroll costs were a significant part of our 2025 budget, and so now we're looking to remodel our programs a little bit, just significantly because of the payroll expenses. So I just wanted to kind of put out that I am all for this grant program and job creation grant.
Just to clarify, though, would a nonprofit be able to apply for this as well? Or is this just for businesses?
Actually, Matt and I didn't really discuss that, unfortunately. So I don't know, Matt,
It
how you
says in
feel
there,
about
no.
that?
It says in there, it's only for for-profit businesses, not non-profits.
Okay, that's what I thought. I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah. And I have to say that, as popular and as helpful as the Dixie Fire for-profit economic development grant has been, um, the map, it's kind of weaved around through Indian Valley, and some businesses were ineligible because they were 60 feet from the line. And, we're all in this together. We're all facing recovery. We're all facing monumental challenges here. So strengthening the whole valley is critical for me. Um, I think this would be the good thing about this grant. We're not gonna bob and weave. We're gonna say, first come, first serve. Any business, existing, new business, whatever. I think it'll be a really fair approach.
All right. Thanks for that, Clint. And so I think once again, some of the the finer points. 36 jobs times $7,500 equals $270,000, and the remainder being various administrative costs and some other things that depending on the full-time employment and if it's a new hire or if it's a current hire and some of the
Yeah,
changes there.
it was
So
7,500
but
for a
just
new
real
hire.
quick, just because of time, Clint, what questions are there any other questions that the team has to elaborate on here? Yes, Greg, is that a hand? You're on mute.
Um, I'd like to know, like, what kind of evaluation thing is set up. So existing businesses that have survived for a time, that's one thing, but this is like job creation, so it's new jobs. How are we going to evaluate whether someone who is just starting a business even has a chance of really actually making it? Yeah, I mean, most of it, what's the percentage of started businesses that fail? And so, yay for helping them, but I mean, how are we going to evaluate, the likelihood of them succeeding in this money actually
Yeah.
working and getting the result we want?
I'd like to respond to that, Greg, because that's a really good question. In the 2021 Dixie Fire for-profit economic development grant, there was a lot of steps that new startups had to go through. One, they had to get an EIN, they had to get a fictitious business name, they had to get a SAM number, they had to have a business checking account, they had to have liability insurance, business checking account, business plan, all those things. If they're going to have employees, workers' comp, and things like that. So it was it kind of weeded out the people that just said, well, just could just throw in a bid for it because it made them go through a lot of steps, and they really had to want it to go just through those steps to get it. I mean, we had people complain like, how come we have to go through all this stuff? Well, if you want assistance badly enough, you'll work for it. And that's probably the best answer I can get because, we had a good feel for these businesses that went through all those steps. And, and most of them that I help, 13 of them are at, the Made in Plumas County store. We sell their products. So we know that they're selling at our store. We know that there's some are selling in Chico. We know that some are selling in Greenville at multiple locations. So we have a pretty strong feeling of the people we helped, and that's from my end. And I think Tracy Ferguson would vouch that between her and the disaster recovery coordinator, Callie Ward, that we made them jump through a lot of hoops. So they had to kind of prove themselves that they were serious.
But I mean, how many of the people at the Made in Plumas County store are in a position where they would have another employee? I don't see those people as really starting a multi-employee or even a second employee business. I mean, most of those are like more like hobbyists to me than setting up a plant and operating something where they're going to really have an ongoing business instead of bringing in employees. I mean, it's not like Riley's Jerky or the Crescent Hotel that's going to have employees or
Yeah.
I mean, so how would we evaluate their business plan in terms of like you're going to be here for a year, you're going to have at least one employee for a year, at least one employee. Not, I mean, because really, like, I like staying home stringing beads. Is it's not. I mean, yay for them, and yay for $60,000 for all of them together. I mean, but that's just not a big, huge economic benefit. It's nice, you know what I mean, but it's not going to save Plumas. So how are we going to evaluate their business plans?
Yeah.
Let me just weigh on that because evaluating someone's business plan, I mean, it's really subjective thing, will this
Hmm.
company succeed? Will this one do well? And the point of the having that little committee of three was to kind of help with that
Hmm.
thinking, those kind of things. So, Greg, I mean, if you, I think these are good questions, and I think that would be part of this kind of like round thing of thinking about, okay, which ones are we going to fund? So, Greg, I think if this gets voted on, and if you have the time to whatever once a month meet with
Okay.
the team, that could be a good way of kind of getting those things because it's like I mean, there's so many kind of multifaceted, whether you're thinking about this one's going to succeed or not, and because it's expensive just to put up the stuff that Clint was talking about, these kind of roadblocks like that, they're expensive for someone's time. Sure, they're important to have an EIN and insurance and all these things like that, but sometimes they can be barrier. Like we don't want to put more roadblocks, thinking that roadblocks make good companies. They don't. So, but I think having you on that board um, would help answer some of those questions because it's pretty subjective at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely want to support this. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? But I want to make sure that it's actually going to be something that will be really effective. I want it to be effective.
100%, 100% aligned.
Greg, that's
So I
why
think
we want an ROI. We
there's
want
yeah, hey, yeah. So I mean, once again, I don't think there's a lot of new information here. I think everybody understands writ large the concepts with each one of these grants. Uh, Again, bottom line up front, right now, nothing could be granted with regard to the current standing of the Innovation Hub, and it's moving through the bureaucracy with the state AG's office and various things. So that's one item. And then the other item is, which with each one of these, we will need still a determination about the financial legality of how and what is approved, even if it is the Innovation Hub and it's not the DFC or North Valley, et cetera, et cetera. I know everybody wants to do business the right way and above board and all the things. Uh, Number three is I think everybody wants to promote some type of economic and or business development in the Burnt Scar area and in Plumas County overall. And Clint, you highlight many of the issues that are facing small businesses, some of our larger anchor employers as well, on the public side and on the private side. So thanks for illuminating that and continuing to come up with innovative ways through the hub that you all can lead, but then not only with the supervisors, but then also private industry being able to get on board and assist that. So lots of things to continue to deliberate on and think about. And I do want to move things along a little bit just in the interest of time. So a lot of this can be taken up over email, and we can continue to kind of update and ask questions via email. And then even if there's if anybody wants to get on a call next week and just elaborate more fully on anything or ask some more questions, I'm sure we can set something like that up as well.
I think that's a good idea.
All right.
So,
Oh,
Patrick,
yeah, go ahead, Kim.
I did want to just bring up, I know, we're going to get together with Bill and kind of hammer some of these things out, but one of the things that I think caused right away in his first read through was the fact that he said it looked like these grants were just going to go out on a first come, first served basis and not based on need. And he thinks that that definitely is an issue that they somehow need to be need based, not just, okay, the first 15 companies that apply just automatically get it. And then the other thing is he talked about once again with these type of dollars, there's this issue with charitable class, and the benefits need to be kind of incidental to the business, because what we're looking at is what are the benefits to the community. And I know that obviously the benefits to the community are if we have businesses, that's positive for the community, but kind of just thinking about, what is the charitable class here. And then the separate thing is, Clint, this is the first time I've heard you say that typically people don't put in one grant application to DFC and use the exact same grant application to North Valley Community Foundation. Typically, when a grant application comes in, it's for both of our funds to look at. So the fact that you're thinking, oh, and I'm going to get the other 150,000 from NVCF, I'm not sure that typically it's like, okay, if you're requesting a $300,000 grant from these two funds, that we would look at the same thing, it's one application. Does that
Okay.
make sense?
Yeah. Go ahead, Patrick, and then I'll follow up because I want to answer some of Kim's questions.
Okay, with regard to that, Kim, Clint and I talked about that last week, that really like what the total ask is being reviewed by the DFC. If the DFC can accommodate that, great. And or if there's a motion of electing or asking that North Valley Community Foundation fund 50%, that's something that we could discuss in this forum as well.
Yeah.
But not having two separate requests going to two separate funds.
Yeah. So I took that guidance from Patrick, Kim, so I hope I didn't overstep my bounds. In regards to the initial point you had about based on need, whatever the requirements, let's say that's a requirement for every grantee or every applicant. So they will all have to abide by the same requirements, and especially if need is one of them. But if they all meet those, then it is first come, first serve.
Yeah, and that may be a sticking point. Is I think, and that's something we'll have to find out. Clint, is to see if that is permissible.
Yeah.
Danny.
Yeah, I'd just like to go back to the point that was just brought up with Kim and such. The grant request would then have to be modified and not say 150,000. It should say 300,000 is the amount requested. So that's what we're saying, and and the true need then is 300,000. So that's what we're saying. You have to request what the need is, and then whether or not if the DFC can fund it, portion of it, and North Valley can fund portion of it, but it comes in as what is the total need. So just to make sure that's clarified.
Patrick, didn't I put down 300,000?
No,
Well,
it says that.
you did. Yeah, you said that the total amount needs 300,000. The total amount you were requesting is 150,000.
Oh, okay.
So
My faux pas.
I just assumed that you had somewhere else you were going for that 150. But I didn't realize that somewhere else was. us.
Yeah. Matt, last comment, and then we'll move on to the next agenda item.
Yeah, so Patrick, you're recommending that we have a meeting next week to talk about how to make it more palatable for.
What I'm recommending is there needs to be some more research, and then based off of what that research yields, just to be able to follow up and update everybody on what that is to see what a amenable path forward is. That's what I'm recommending.
But is that research on you? Is that is that a meeting or is that what?
Yeah, I mean, like the big one is going back with Bill, who wanted to follow up and elaborate on a few of these pieces. So that's number one. And then once we understand what's permissible, then it would actually be getting into the actual knee-deep verbiage in the grant requests of what it says. So what you're asking for is actually what you're actually doing.
That makes sense. Yeah. Sounds good.
Welcome
Cool.
back. Today by Colonel Douglas.
All right. Yeah, lots of details and lots of things. Thanks for everyone's questions, comments, and Clint, thanks for explaining your pieces. Matt, from your perspective as well. And we'll go ahead and we'll just continue to kind of follow up on this and provide more details as it becomes available. The next item on our agenda is the Dixie Fire Canopy Project. That was another grant. That's a grant request coming from the Canopy Project for $150,000 in total. And Michaela Trammell is here. I know that there was a bunch of questions also via email. Michaela also provided just a kind of a feedback survey from some of their clients. I sent that out about 2 hours ago. And that identifies just some of the data of how they've been tracking their projects and then some of the feedback that they've received from some of their clients. Hopefully I had a chance to take a look at this. Once again, there's a spreadsheet in the back, page 11, that depicts the budget, the overall budget for what the Dixie Fire Canopy Project is looking for this 2026 year. Michaela, please, by all means, go ahead and elaborate on anything you have regarding this grant.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today and for the work that each of you continues to do in the Dixie Fire recovery and the burn scar. I am here on behalf of the Dixie Fire Canopy Project to request the funding for our next season, the 2026 planting season, in the amount of $150,000. The amount is a little higher than last year, obviously, because we did have a little bit of that discrepancy on the initial ask where we went over budget and we had to come back and request additional supplemental funds, which was wonderful. We had a successful second season to follow the successful first season, and we're hoping to do it again in 2026. We all know that recovery isn't just about infrastructure. While that is a key part of it, it's also about restoring the ecosystem's shade habitat and a sense of normalcy for families who are still rebuilding. And the good news is we are ready to plant. We have landowners, volunteers, and partners asking us how to participate. So today we are requesting $150,000 to support this year's planting season, and funding that will directly translate into trees in the ground, local workforce support, and measurable restoration impact. And I know that there was some questions in the email that I received, and I did my best to respond to those questions. I am unsure if you all got the spreadsheet reflecting the addresses and the trees and shrubs that they had received. Did you guys get that one? Patrick?
I didn't see it. I haven't seen it.
Okay, I did send it to Patrick.
To be honest, Michaela, I did not send it out because I didn't know that you wanted addresses, personal identifiable information sent out.
I didn't really, but the question was asked for those parcel numbers or address. addresses.
Yeah, I don't, I held on to it because I just don't know if is that really necessary? Do we need to know where everybody lives that requested a tree?
Yes.
We
We needed
do.
to know where it's at in the burn scar, outside the burn scar, where the trees are planted. If they're planted in Portola,
Michaela, was
well,
anything planted outside the bird scar?
No, we work
Okay.
in
I mean,
strictly the
I just don't know that we want to share everybody's information. That's all.
that is our only one and only requirement is that residences are located within the Dixie Fire burn scar.
Okay.
So I know that I would like to keep it my talking points. I've kind of cut a few of them out just because I wanted to open it up for questions. I wanted to be mindful of everybody's time, as I know that there's other presenters on this call. I know that it's been mentioned in previous presentations that we are willing to do some sort of split if North Valley Community Foundation was interested in doing half or partial, even $30,000 to kind of eliminate some of the Dixie Fire collaborative funding that's going out. It would help to minimize that. So we're open to that as well.
Okay. Danny, I know you had questions in general, and did everybody? Oh, okay. Greg, you've got a question, and then we'll circle back. Oh, Greg, you're still muted.
Got it. So what other funding sources have you looked at, Michaela? I mean, this has come up before. I'm just curious.
Yeah, we've applied to quite a few funds and different grant resources. We applied to the T-Mobile Hometown Grant. We were unfortunately denied for that one, but we will be applying for that again. It is their last opening for funding for that grant allotment. We have also applied for a Lowe's Community Impact Grant. We have applied for a California Relief Grant, and we did get awarded that one. That's in the amount of $5,000, and that's to go towards the museum planting project and a Main Street giveaway. So it'll be strictly to the properties that reside on Main Street. There's been quite a few grants that are still pending. We've also been awarded a grant from the Arbor Day Foundation for a fall distribution event, and that's in the amount of $13,750. And I was just coordinating that with Ashley Thiemann of the Arbor Day Foundation today. So they're a little bit smaller, and I anticipated that because they do not reside within the burn scar. So that's why the request is a little bit more significant for the local entities here. And we're hoping to just kind of keep going with what we've been doing to become more sustainable.
So we've got $300,000. There's a whole lot of stuff. What are you going to do if you don't get a grant?
We will keep looking for grants. We're going to keep going, and if we have to only do a tree distribution event in the fall and the museum project this year, that's what we'll do, and then we'll just kind of keep going to see if the need is still present. I know the need is present with people rebuilding as new homes are popping up all over the burn scar, especially in Greenville. So the need is present, and it just kind of all is whether or not we're going to have the same local support this year as we have before.
With all the fires in California, when you first came up with this project, I really thought that you could go almost, certainly statewide with it. Have you thought about expanding beyond Plumas? I mean, look at LA.
I have. And I am happy to say that I've been accepted onto the board of directors for the Campfire Restoration Project. So I've had a wonderful couple meetings with them as a new board member there, and I'm anxious to hear what they've done in the past to kind of get to where they're at and learn from them and collaborate with them as well.
Okay.
And we will be published in a study with his name is Amand Persad, and he goes global and he does these presentations. So it's only a matter of time before everybody has started to hear about the Dixie Fire Canopy Project. I know that we've remained kind of small and local, but we are looking to get our name out there so that we can do more within the state of California and these wildfires.
This is a question actually for Kim. Kim, do you think that this is something that you'd want to split?
I don't know that our group is ready to make a decision at this point. Since we just learned in the last couple weeks that the Greenville Rancheria no longer needs the loan, our group thought it might be smart to just kind of do a site visit up there and actually see kind of what are the needs, some of the needs in the community, maybe meet with Plumas County, talk to them about where they are in any major projects that they're doing, just to get a sense of, has been some discussion a while back about community centers, or, where could we make the biggest impact in the burn scar area. And so I think they thought, well, maybe we should at least kind of get on site. And I do think it's hard when, and if we hear from the community, our highest and greatest needs is getting trees back into these areas. Yes, it's hard because it's kind of been a few select projects that we've been funding over and over. And I think, just like Greg brought up, we've had a couple committee members that are like, is this project just sustainable because we have money to fund it? And once that funding goes away, does the project go away? And maybe it does. I mean, it did it in some of the things we funded in the campfire. It was like, okay, and then there were some other things that did have a sustainability plan. But I think that was a question our team members had last year when we funded it. I think again for the second or third time was, okay, what's the plan for sustainability? Because eventually these dollars will be gone, and
I mean, the trees will be there.
Can I respond to that one specifically? Mm-hmm. We do have pretty big plans to hopefully acquire some property for a nonprofit nursery. That way we could kick out trees at a much quicker pace. We're looking to do a nonprofit nursery and paired with a partial housing initiative. And I did want to reach out directly to you, Kim, to see if I could maybe discuss those ideas with you. I know it's completely unrelated to this project, but that's kind of where we're looking at for the long-term sustainability is how do we bring in additional revenue to be sustainable long-term, and exactly what that would require. And we've been working closely with the county planning department and everything like that. We've been working with a lot of local organizations to kind of get some things off the ground. And yes, I would love to speak with you, Vanessa, also. I see that in the chat. So it's just kind of, we do have big plans on how to remain present without necessarily the grant funding, the significant grant funding that's been coming in over the past couple of years. As we all know, that does take a little bit more time than just the first couple seasons of planting. So this year we want to continue our planting efforts for the new houses that are in the area. We're happy to see them coming back. We're happy to see them rolling through town. And then we are looking at much bigger plans for the future to bring in that revenue.
And I just do have an additional question, because I heard you say I think the question came up is, if you don't receive any additional funding, what would you do this year? And you said you would just stick with the projects you currently have. I think one of them you mentioned was a community project.
The new museum build, their construction.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are those things that were funded with the funding from last year?
No, that's a new grant we did receive. We just got the award for that last week through California Relief. And so that's in the amount of $5,000. It'll be 50% upfront, so $2,500, and then 50% upon project completion. So we are, hoping that's going to be paired with a Main Street giveaway just for the town of Greenville, to hopefully beautify that corridor. And then
Well,
the Arbor Foundation is doing, they're funding us for a fall distribution event.
Kim, the last one I think that we did was the supplemental for the American Legion project.
Oh, it was
But
American Legion. Okay.
Yeah, that was the American Legion. So in the last 2 years to date, we've done between the two, it's been about $227,000.
Yeah, I see total funding at 277 cents.
277.
277.
I've got
Oh, I'm sorry,
227.
227. 227,
Okay.
yes.
Danny, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I still think it's a value to find out where the trees have gone. I'm still just saying they've gone out to burn scar is not enough. And how many people, how many different people, how many trees do they actually get? How many shrubs? And are the seedlings in that count, or the seedlings were just flat giveaways, weren't counted? So, I'm not really satisfied with saying, oh, we can't tell people where the trees went, and because we can't share private information. There's got to be
Yeah,
something
and that's
that
not
we
what
can
I'm
do.
suggesting, Danny. I'm not I'm saying I think Michaela can provide her data,
If you
but
would
I
like
don't
to,
know that everybody. One second, please. I just don't know that everybody that signed up for this knew that their address would be shared. That's all. Um,
they did sign contracts saying that we could share that information with funders. So if you would like to forward that to the steering committee members, I'm okay with that.
okay.
We do ask that you respect their privacy as it is on their private lands. If you would like to go by and look at those trees, how they're doing, whether they're thriving or not, you'll see that there's a residential sign-up list as well as a commercial sign-up list in that same spreadsheet. Some of the commercial properties received more than the 4 trees, 2 shrubs that we provide to the private residences, based on the need and their size acreage. Such as like we provided 15 orchard trees for the elementary school, as well as 25 trees for the Greenville Park project that is currently happening.
It says over 1,800 trees. Greg, go ahead.
Sort of to Danny's point about location and stuff like that, Michaela, as we know, I mean, in the burn scar, a lot of homes didn't get burned, and a bunch of homes did. How many properties did you give trees to that actually hadn't been destroyed or burned? That that wasn't a criteria when you started. You were just trying
Yeah.
to apply.
Yeah, so we do give priority to the total lost properties. So we usually put those first on the list as they come through when they are getting close to their construction being complete on their homes. We won't work on a property until the construction and the water has been put to the property. So they, of course, get priority. However, we do still provide trees. Some properties, their homes didn't burn, but all of their tree canopies were a total loss. So, as we're replanting trees, we want to make sure that the houses that didn't necessarily burn, but they still suffered some of that loss, are getting restored as well. And then some are getting less trees compared to the 4 trees, 2 shrubs. Some are getting 1 or 2 trees. If not all of their tree canopy was destroyed. So we are doing site visits on each of these properties to see exactly what the need is, and making sure that our resources are getting spread out as far as we possibly can.
Okay.
And I did not answer the seedlings. They're not included in that count. We've provided over 12,000 seedlings.
Okay. Any other questions, comments, thoughts? Greg was out of hand. It kind of blurred in and out.
No.
Okay.
I think I'm pretty good.
Okay. All right. Does anybody want to take action on this grant right now?
I personally would like to look a little bit more. I mean, given the amount of money that we have and what's being asked for, I'd kind of like to look at some of Clint's stuff a little bit more before we give out some money, before we start
Okay.
checking this out.
Okay. Team, how does everybody else feel about that? A little bit of a consensus on just kind of like get some more information over the next couple weeks, kind of where we are, and especially now that we know that this 340-ish is down to the literal bottom. Danny, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I think the larger grants we should hold up on, we certainly, because we don't have a lot of dollars.
Okay,
yeah.
that's fair.
I
All
agree.
right. Letter agrees. Okay. Marcia, I saw you nod your head. Okay. So
Yeah.
we'll table this for now, and then we'll circle back once we kind of know a little bit more in these next coming weeks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michaela. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on. Today we have Vanessa with us from the La Sierra Food Project. Vanessa is the executive director for the La Sierra Food Project, and some of you all know the farm down there as you come into Quincy. That's the Rugged Roots Farm, and that the project is sort of like nested with. They have a grant request today for $4,000. And I'll turn it over to Vanessa to elaborate on it. Welcome, Vanessa.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me and considering our request. So this small grant request is to fund part of our food access program. So we are a nonprofit located in Quincy that serves Plymouth County. We kind of have four key programs. So, and most of the programs are based off our farm. So we're an agricultural nonprofit. Our four programs, one is workforce development. So we do high school internships. Those are farm-based. So we're teaching kids how to grow food and how to work on a production farm. We also work with the junior college for workforce development. So we have college level internships as well. Then we do farm education, and that's for all ages. So we have funding through California Department of Food and Agriculture for farm to school work. So we do farm field trips for all PUSD schools. And then we do cooking classes and workshops. So it's kind of everything from how to grow your own food to how to cook local food, art, anything kind of farm and ag related. And then we do some regional work. So we partner with we currently have a 4-county USDA planning grant that's looking at food security and food resilience. And we've got partners in Sierra County, Modoc, Lassen, and Plumas. And then this last program, that part of this $4,000 would go towards, if awarded, is our food access program. So we have this 2.5-acre farm where people can come and shop. June through October is our food is when we have food and is our growing season. So it's kind of a tiered approach. We are trying to feed people who can afford to purchase food from us directly. Then we also have something called an affordable produce program, and that's like it's an application process where we take about 40 families who are low income or veterans or have some sort of need. It's a needs-based program. And those people can either pay a fraction of the price. It's kind of a tiered program. So if they can afford to pay a subsidized amount, they can access their produce. Sometimes they volunteer in exchange for food. And then sometimes their need is so high that we just give the produce away. And then lastly, in this food access program, that a portion of this grant would go to is we do food donations every year. So every year we donate to local food banks. We, in the past, have kind of had a focus on PCIRC and the Quincy Can, just because it's the closest to our farm. But we did receive a grant to get a refrigerated delivery van this last year. We got it in November. So this year we will be able to do some food deliveries to the Greenville food pantry as well. we also, in this grant, something we did last year and we'd like to continue is we donated food to culinary programs. So we donated produce to Indian Valley Academy, which was used for the lunch, their like comeback lunch at the beginning of the school. They did a big salad bar, and we provided all the produce for their salad bar. And then we also gave kind of these boxes, which we call kits, recipe kits to the culinary teachers, and then they made salsa verde one day, and then ratatouille, and then a winter squash soup another day. So yeah, this total program for the food access program is closer to $40,000. So we're requesting about 10%. A little bit is for staff time to package these food boxes and then do the deliveries. I put in a little bit for mileage to Greenville, and I put in mileage to Portola as well, 2 visits to Portola. And then a little over $2,000 is actually to cover the cost of the produce itself. And then I put in about $800 in this grant for advertisements for KQNY and also some new signage for the roadside. And the reason I put in outreach and these advertisement materials into this grant is because we really need more people to know about our farm and shop our farm in order for us to continue to stay in business and to do the good work that we do. Small farms across the state. We were just last week, there was a statewide conference, small farm conference, and small farms are struggling all over our state to stay open. And yeah, we'd like to continue to be able to do this food access work and then also get people to our farm who can afford to purchase produce and shop our farm. So yeah, any questions you have, I'm here to answer them.
Sounds great.
Okay, yeah, Greg, you have your hand up.
Yeah, no, I like the program really a lot, but looking at the materials, it's like you're only going to make you're scheduled for only 3 deliveries to Greenville.
Yeah, I think that's realistic with our capacity. And yeah, so the way the food banks work in Plumas County is they get food deliveries from the Nevada Food Bank,
Northern Nevada
Food Bank. Thank you.
Food Bank of Northern Nevada. Yeah.
Yes, the Food Bank of Northern Nevada. So they take a big truck that comes into Quincy every Friday. And that is where the Greenville Pantry, Portola Pantry, PCIRC, Quincy Pantry, they all meet up and they distribute the food, and it goes on into their vehicles, and then it goes to the food pantries. So one of our strategies is that on Friday morning, if we can make a delivery that Friday morning, our produce can then be distributed and we don't have to incur the cost of distributing, driving to Greenville, driving to Portola. So that's a strategy that we've used in the past. But yeah, I think, and then like, for example, the Indian Valley Academy, they picked up the produce. So we didn't actually drive it ourselves. And part of that is because we didn't have a delivery vehicle, but we do have a delivery vehicle.
I don't know. I mean, does the food bank in Greenville, do they have a vehicle to come and pick stuff up, or do volunteers come and pick it up? Because it seems like once a month. Okay.
Yeah, they have a volunteer that comes and picks it up. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So,
And
yeah, he drives
to
down.
be transparent, last year we did not have our fresh produce at the Greenville Food Pantry, but we did have our fresh produce at Indian Valley Academy. But I did talk with them a couple times on the phone, and yeah, I think this funding, some of it will go to Indian Valley, but some of it, like our affordable produce program, which we would be advertising with some of this money, that is something that people from Greenville can apply to. And we did have 3 families from the Dixie Fire Scar in that program this last year, which previously we'd had we serve 40 families each year with that program. And previously we hadn't had families from outside of Quincy apply. But this last year we had 3 families from the Dixie Fire Scar, and we also had 5 families from Portola area. So that was a really great, like, we're working hard to get we don't want to be seen as Quincy centric. We really want to try and get our food across the county as best we can. So we're working on that.
Okay.
Greg, do you have any follow-ups?
No, Patrick, you said that, I mean, so I'm just thinking like, is there, like if people come like from Greenville, can they come once a week? Because fresh produce doesn't last that long. So is it, you know, I mean, I'm just trying to figure out how that works. So it's,
Yeah, so I just know that like
Or
the
so-
Indian Valley Food Pantry as it stands right now, like on Friday morning, they drive down with a truck and trailer and they pick up the haul from the
North Nevada.
delivery. Yeah, exactly. So and then everything kind of gets redistributed there.
Okay.
And then they turn right back around, come back up. I mean, for it's not that trip is, 25, 30 minutes, right? So if they do get fresh stuff, I think I think it's gonna be all right.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But
No,
yeah.
I'm just kind of curious. It's like, because I've never actually looked into the food bank stuff. So this is,
Yeah, well, so PCIRC up until like last year, PCIRC was like the fiscal uh, sponsor or agent. I get it
Mhm.
confused, but they kind of ran them all like on their behalves, right? So they
Yeah.
helped with the general funding that they were getting through other grants. And then I think it was just last year that they all kind of split up just to have their own entities. So the Indian Valley Food Pantry is its own 501(c)(3) now. And that's how we were able to provide the previous grant for $2,500 and then another one for 19 and
Right.
change. Then recently just helped them with a food security grant that North Valley Community Foundation was providing for up to $1,500 for additional purchasing. So anyway, side note. But yeah. So this is an opportunity to kind of they can still coordinate with each other, the different food pantries and food banks, right? But that it's promoting that, more coordination and collaboration to get a wider variety of food. A
Yeah.
lot of the food that comes from the food pantry or the big one is non-perishable dry goods, right? Which is fine, which is good, right?
Mhm.
Nothing to sneeze at. But then being able to supplement it with local produce is, uh, I don't know, I think generally a positive thing.
Yeah.
I've got a couple of hands, Danny and then Lida.
Yeah, you mentioned PCIRC and CAN, and you didn't mention CAN, but those are the quests I have. Those acronyms, I have no clue as to what they are or what they do, and I'd like to have, it's the practice to me in the applications that you define those somewhere, and I don't see it. So
Yeah, I'm sorry. I did respond to your email about that. I think that there's a word count on those grant applications. So the PCIRC is Plumas Crisis Intervention Resource Center. And we work with them. As Patrick mentioned, they previously were kind of the fiscal sponsor for the other food bank, for all the food banks in the county, or most of them, not all of them. So they are very connected in the food access and distribution world, which is something that we care deeply about and are involved in. And
okay,
they have a residential kitchen. They have a residential program where people in Plumas County who are experiencing homelessness or job loss, they can stay at their facility. And as part of the program, they're required to cook dinner together. So we donate our produce to that program as well so that they can have fresh produce in the summer to cook for their residential program. And then CAN is I think it's Community Action Network, and that is the acronym for the Quincy Food Bank, but it's also the Quincy Food Bank and the Greenville Food Pantry they're related. There's a CAN in Portola as well. So
okay,
it's a food bank. Yeah.
They
awesome. Thanks for the
they are
definitions.
Danny, they're located in like they utilize kind of like a garage space at St. John's down in Quincy at the
The
St. John's Parish.
PCIRC does.
No, can
Can
does.
okay, can okay. That is
So
St.
that's
John's.
that's
Okay,
like that's the location in Quincy is co-located with St. John's.
okay, cool, awesome. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Lida, you have your hand up.
Yeah, just sounds like a great program that you're running, so I'm all for it. I'm not clear about how the what you're asking for affects the burn scar,
Yeah.
which is part of our requirement.
Right. Yeah. So, a couple ways. The first would be the direct food donation to Indian Valley Academy culinary program. So that would benefit the children, that are in that program. We gave them food for the whole school one time last season. So that was, for the whole program, the teachers, the parents, and they did like a big lunch. Um, the second way is that we would like to make some deliveries to the Greenville Food Pantry. And then the third way, which I don't feel like I articulated very well in the application because it just, word count and space. And it's not really even like that clear in the budget, but we are working with the Feather River Food Co-op, who was approached last year by the Quincy Spot, and also through like their membership meetings that the co-op does. There's this idea that's been circulating for a couple years to do like a farmers market pop-up in Greenville. And that's something that we would like to pilot this year. Now we have a refrigerated delivery van, and we are on the farmers market committee here that's, restarted in Quincy. So we would like to just kind of increase our presence in Greenville, get our produce to Greenville more. So yeah, I think yes, I did put in a little bit of mileage to Portola, to those food pantries. Yes, I did put a little bit of I put in some advertisement, some outreach materials, but that's so people know about our organization and know where they can get fresh produce that can then bolster our whole farm. That then would, hopefully if we can stay in business as a small farm, that then people from Greenville can benefit from our programs. I also did put in 50 $10 gift certificates in this budget, and the way those would be distributed I was imagining was through WIC. And we also have a close relationship with First Five. And we do a pumpkin patch, which you may have heard of. And we like to give out gift certificates prior to the pumpkin patch to these service providers so that families who maybe like would like to come, but they feel a little stressed about the expense of coming to a pumpkin patch, they just have a little bit, they're like, okay, I know I have $10 to spend. I can let my kid pick out a pumpkin. So that's another thing that I put into this budget. Just kind of help families that need a little help.
Okay, thanks.
I see your hand up, Greg.
Yep.
Yeah.
There you go. You beat me to it. Thank you both.
So I was just kind of curious, like in terms of like, because the culinary school, or the program, and doesn't the school, didn't they at least used to do a lot of seedlings and stuff like that so people could get their garden started? Was there some sort of a gardening program or something?
Yeah, at the public school, yes, there is a really big garden facility there that was run by oh gosh, I'm gonna blank on his name right now.
Dan Brown.
Dan
Yes,
Brown.
Dan Brown. Yeah, really talented farmer. So he is retired and um there is so that we're talking about PUSD now, not Indian Valley Academy. There so with their budget cuts, I've just had it confirmed that they are not going to have school garden coordinators anymore, which is really sad actually. And it is an area that my organization is kind of currently looking like, should we try and write a big grant and fund some positions? Like it's a gap. It's going to be a gap.
Yeah, that was actually
So,
my question is like some sort of like an apprenticeship program or,
yeah. Well, we do have, and we're actually currently recruiting for our high school internship program. So we do a high school internship program. Last year we had 5 high school students paid 5 high school students to work on our farm doing various things. But yeah, we do a lot. We are a small farm and we also have a lot of programs.
Just to kind of tangentially on that. So with the garden programs at the schools, kind of the long pole in the tent right now, given the funding issues with the school district overall. However, between um, the La Sierra Food Project, and then also, if you recall, for this team here, some of the funding that we provided to the Dawn Institute, not happening overnight, and not happening, I don't think this season is the season that they're going to be prepared to do it, but their long range goal, their strategic vision is to have that as a education garden as well.
That's right.
And to kind of cover that gap and across the board and kind of have that partnership again with the farm in Quincy. So those are some of the things I think, Vanessa, that are on the horizon. But it just all continues to take more work, people, and effort. So
Yeah, and we do work really closely with the Dawn. So yeah,
there
we
you go.
would love to support them getting their farm back up and running.
And another side note is the culinary program at the school. I just know this from my kids going there, but just talking with the culinary coordinator, they're uh, self-funded, right? So anything they do, anything material like food wise that they use, they purchase, and they've been able to generate some revenue via their every other week, or yeah, it's been every 2 to 3 week early bird cafes, right? So that's their revenue stream. But anything that they can do, anything that helps kind of take the load off a little bit financially for them, obviously it helps to make kind of a richer and more vibrant culinary program. So that's all. That's another piece of that education component. Okay. Additional questions, comments, concerns, thoughts? Marcia.
No, I'd just like to make a motion that we fund the $4,000 for the La Sierra Food Project's special thing that's going to impact Greenville.
I'd
Okay.
second that,
I'm
Shelby.
hoping.
Okay. We'll go roll call here. Marcia Roby,
Yes.
Greg Walsh,
Yes.
Lyda Scoggin,
Yes.
Danny Steyer,
Yes.
Matt Fogarty,
Yes.
and Shelby Leon.
Yes.
Okay. 2, 3.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah, I look forward to reporting back. Yeah, I appreciate you.
Great. Well,
Good
thank you,
luck.
Vanessa, for sharing, and good luck. And so your grant for $4,000 stands approved.
Wonderful.
Right. Well, thank you
Thanks,
very much.
Vanessa.
Mhm.
All right. Next agenda item is just committee member updates. We'll just go around the horn here. Marcia, do you have anything for the team?
Yeah, so Danny and I and our neighbor Wendy Lomback and Amber and Marty from the
Fire Safe Council?
Yeah, Fire Safe Council. Oh, I'm missing one person. Danny, who am I missing?
Kate,
Oh yeah, Cade Moeller. We got together this last week
Karen.
and kind of got the ball rolling on doing a Greenville Firewise. So that was exciting.
Great.
Talk about it some more.
Awesome. And then and we're still on for the March
16th at 3 o'clock, and it's going to be in the American Legion Hall.
okay, 3 p.m. Great. Okay.
What's at the American Legion?
So it's an educational component of Firewise that you're supposed to have a community meeting and educate the public on different things that they are working on. So we're going to have Marty Walters, who is the new person from Fire Safe Council that you can sign up with her. She'll come into your house and your property and give you ideas for making your property more fire resilient.
Right.
Michael Hall from the Feather River Resource Conservation District has finally been doing work on Williams Valley and Power Line Road in Greenville, and he wants to talk about that and other things that he's doing. Amber will be there, who's our head cheese. She is going to do a thing helping people know how to navigate the website to turn in their hours. And I don't know if anybody else is coming or not, besides those three. But I'm going to call a
Yeah.
bunch of people and let them know about it and put it on Facebook. And yeah,
Good stuff. So thank you, Marcia.
you're welcome.
Greg, do you have any updates for the team?
No big updates. I'm interested in going to the IVCSD meeting, I guess on Wednesday, and finding out a little bit more about what's going on. I'm not sure, what that is, but I'd like to find out more. So
Yeah,
that's
sounds
that.
good. Okay. Lida, do you have anything?
Not a thing.
That's all right. Nothing wrong with being brief. All right. Danny, do you have anything for the team?
I already put in my bit, so I'm done.
Okay, very well. Matt Fogarty.
The store's open now from 6:30 to 5:30, so we now got our summer hours.
Oh,
So
wow, that's great.
other than that, everything else is going great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Good to hear. All right. And with that, may I have a motion to adjourn today's meeting?
I move.
Greg Walsh, second.
I'll second it.
Lida Scoggin, all in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. Thanks so much. Any opposed?
So they left
All right.
already.
Always have to ask. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you all very much. I really appreciate your time, and have a good evening.
Thanks,
Thank
Patrick.
Thank you all for
Thanks,
having me.
everybody.
Cheers. See ya.
Good night.
Thanks, everybody.
Let that dog out.
Bye.
Bye.